Hi guys, this is Creative Cuts, a channel where I build, paint and create things. Can one airbrush do it all? Well, in this video we'll find out. I'll be doing a deep dive into the new Gaahleri Ace Swallowtail. And I've got some massive bargains which will save you loads of money, so stick around to the end of the video to check those out. Now Gaahleri, a company I wasn't familiar with previously, reached out to me and sent me their new Ace Swallowtail to test out and review. And full disclosure, they have in no way paid me for this review and have given me free rein with regard to my opinions. So these are very much my own thoughts and my experiences. Now firstly, I was impressed with how it's packaged. Care and attention to detail is always a nice touch. I also really welcomed a clear breakdown of parts and the names, so getting replacements as and when should be very easy. They also make a point to advertise their customer support, so it seems like they have a great aftermarket support structure for you, which I know may sound obvious, but I can't tell you how confused I've been at the start of my airbrushing journey, searching for the correct parts and ordering the wrong ones and so on. Now this model is their jack of all trades model, which has multiple needles and nozzles which are interchangeable, giving you a wide spectrum of applications. It comes with a 0.28 needle for precision detailed work, a 0.5mm needle, my go-to for everyday spraying needs, and a 0.7mm needle for big terrain jobs, and all with corresponding nozzles. It comes with 2 cup sizes, and the most interesting thing for me was the unique trigger design. A big lever underneath, similar to what you may find on larger spray guns for painting cars, for example. Now I've been using airbrushes for over 25 years and used to spray signs and sell t-shirts, spray motorbike tanks and helmets, long before I started using an airbrush for painting miniatures. Now with all this experience, the finger action of using an airbrush over the years, I've developed a muscle memory that's specific to each airbrush I use, and the airbrush has become an extension of my hand. I don't think about where my finger should go, it just does. So I was keen to try out this new way of spraying. Now in terms of the brush, the build quality on the metal parts looks fantastic, and immediately I can see that someone who knows what they're doing has designed this airbrush. There are so many little quality of life things that make this airbrush easy to use. For example, the fact that it comes pre-supplied with a quick change fitting for the air hose says to me that it's intended for some proper airbrushing, designed by people who also airbrush. There are a couple of plastic parts which, if I'm honest, do feel slightly cheaper, but they're not critical in any way to the mechanics, so I can understand why they may have opted for plastic in certain areas to keep the overall costs down. Maybe not as bling as some other companies, but I want the airbrush to work well, not just look good on my stand. Now in terms of changing the needles and nozzles, it strips down like any other airbrush should. What I did notice was that the nozzles have some fins around the edge, and according to the website this is some kind of self-centering technology. And at first I thought, yeah right, another one of those marketing buzzwords you hear everywhere, but after using the airbrush for a few weeks now, it actually works really well, what makes the whole process of changing nozzles super easy. So let's get some paint through the gun and see what she does. I currently have 4 different airbrushes, all from Iwata, which I love. And my everyday workhorse is a 0.5 needle, so I thought that would be a great place to start. My nifty 50 covers about 90% of my personal airbrushing needs, as it's fine enough for detail, and also strong enough for decent coverage over larger areas. A quick switch to my 0.28 needle gives you much more precision for detailed work and fine line work. And lastly, the big boy, the 0.7mm needle. You can still get a surprisingly thin line with this, but you can also really open it up and get a lot of paint out fast. Great for terrain projects or batch priming. Now, it's great to have all this versatility in one airbrush, rather than different models for different tasks like I currently have. Now, will I be changing the needles and nozzles multiple times mid-project? Probably not. Is it nice to have the option? Definitely yes. Now, for me, an airbrush can have all kinds of bells and whistles on it, but the most important thing for me is how the paint comes out the gun. I'm looking for clean, fluid, unbroken lines that are consistent and cut immediately when I release the trigger. And this airbrush does that beautifully, as you can see. For miniature painting and dioramas, the actual skill level needed with an airbrush is really minimal. There is very little line work, as it mostly consists of just hazing over colours or adding a few dots here and there for highlights, but nothing really complicated. Anyone with basic operational understanding of an airbrush can do it. But one way to improve control and confidence with an airbrush is to actually try to use it as a drawing tool. This will give you an understanding of the fluidity and the finger dance needed to create something that is clean and crisp. Give yourself some simple exercises like writing your name or drawing a cartoon character. Sketch. Allow yourself to make some mistakes, and as you continue this process you will reach a level of control where you are no longer worrying about how the airbrush works, but thinking about how you're going to draw something. Of course, this all takes practice, but I promise you the learning process can also be fun, and you'll be amazed at what can be achieved with an airbrush. Okay, so let's draw something then. I have an old t-shirt here that I can have some fun with, and again, I'm just looking for fluid lines and control. Sure, I could stencil this up or even use some loose masks to get a very realistic image, but I wanted to do this completely freehand just to see how I get on with this airbrush and actually try and draw something. I just switch back and forth between a light grey, a light green, black and some white. I recently did a diorama of E.T.'s spaceship, link above if you want to watch that. And so in homage to my last video, we'll continue the alien theme and sketch up a classic grey alien. So, what do I honestly think about this airbrush? In short, I absolutely love it. It's really well designed and feels lovely in the hand. I have other airbrushes, as I said, and I've had them for many years without issue. I rely on them for my artwork, so to add a new airbrush to my setup is quite a big ask. It has to perform well, no debate. And that it does. For an airbrush that is 2, 3, even 4 times cheaper than many of the airbrushes I currently own and perform equally well, is a massive statement. This airbrush at the time of writing is listed at £113 with all the taxes included, which makes it really attractive at that price point. Now, who would I recommend this airbrush to? It's certainly a professional level airbrush, but simple enough for beginners to try out too. The trigger design is really intuitive, making this an option for people who struggle with the finger control of a conventional double action trigger system. Overall, a really quality bit of kit that has found its way into my permanent setup, which is the biggest compliment I can give it. If you're interested in picking one up, then use the links below to save you even more money. By using the code CREATIVE, you can save an additional 10% at checkout. And to save even more money, Gaahleri are running a promotion in conjunction with Amazon Prime Day, running from the 8th to the 11th of this month. And they've listed some of their most popular products and added even more discounts to these. You can see all the links below to grab yourself an absolute bargain. I'll be picking up a set of their metallic markers myself. Now if you have enjoyed this video and found it useful, hit the like button, subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest videos, and let me know in the comments if you have any questions or want any advice about airbrushing. Go check out the links below, and also check out the Gaahleri website to see what other goodies they have in their range. Now a tool is just a tool, but in the hands of a creator, it can take you as far as your imagination can reach. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll catch you in the next one. Happy spraying.